Nerdrotic.com.
Salon Selectives presents hair so beautiful you feel like you just stepped out of a salon.
Salon shine, Salon Selectives, Salon glow, Salon Selectives.
Introducing Salon Selectives, new from Helene Curtis. 4 salon shampoos, 4 salon conditioners. You select the combination that will give you salon beautiful hair.
Salon style.
Feel salon beautiful every day.
Salon Selectives.
The Young and the Restless. This portion sponsored by Oil of Olay.
All right, it's square up time, so let's just get to it. We've got a lot to get to, and I don't think I'm going to get to all of it in this one, but I'll certainly get to as much as I can. Hope you're all having a great day. I watched She-Hulk, and I was going to do like a mid-season review, and it turned into a completely different video. Because, well, nothing happens in the show, and God, it's awful. I mean, it's awful. I don't want to spoil the very clickbaity but accurate title. See, that's what I go for. I go for sensational title that I believe is accurate, and going for it on this one. I haven't done a Marvel video in like a month. I know it's been very heavy. Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, very heavy fantasy. I'm a fantasy fan. That's where my interests lie. If you know, I know there's the G4 thing. I might do something on daily for that. Been assisting in the trolling of Frost today, who is just an awful person. So if you don't know, G4 is a network. She came out and did her sexism and gaming rant and is getting a bunch of her colleagues fired, but she decided to put out a meme with a frog smoking a joint with a crown and fucking cool glasses on that she survived. What a see you next Tuesday. All right, so we got Rottweiler AK for $10. We need to get pour extra good a space heater. It must be colder there in Alaska, where I am from, the way she's bundled up. She's in Canada. Plus, she's a girl, okay? Girls just get colder than guys. I know Brittany Venti and my wife like to point out that we naturally burn 200 extra calories a day because we're men. But we also manage to stay warmer for some reason. Matthew Hammond on the Streamlabs side for $10. Will the bean counter save the studios by telling them we are not making woke content anymore, as it does not make us money? ESG only helps with loans. It does help bring in an audience. Do you see studios going back to theaters? I think they are. I think they were. Sorry, I got a haircut, and like I know I'm oversharing here. Had a little piece of hair in my eye. Okay, so corporations, and Matthew, you probably know all this, but let's just, maybe somebody doesn't care or somebody doesn't know. Most corporations run on credit. There's liquid involved. I mean, like Apple has tons of liquid. Disney has liquid from other things, but they run on credit. That's why they get financiers and to make their movies. They still get producers and financiers. They don't like pony up the money all on their own. Now, that might be changing in corporate America. I do believe Amazon ponied up its own money for the Rings of Power, and that's going to be a problem. See, the way the studio system worked for so long is they were playing with other people's money, and now they're playing with their own, and they don't have the revenues they had before. For example, BBC would license out Doctor Who and make tons of money on that. They're not going to be able to do that in a streaming world that much farther in the future, as fewer and fewer people watch terrestrial TV, and the number has dipped dramatically in the last 3 years. ESG is I mean, is it driving it? It's not the only thing that's driving it. It's also the silencing of critics. All the cancel culture has made people live in fear of losing their job, being able to provide for their family. Those are legitimate fears. That's why assholes like me can get on the internet and speak our mind. And more of you are doing that too. Not that you're an asshole. I'm an asshole, but you're not. And that's good. And that's what fights it. The problem is, Matt, that if I think some people are trying to go back and they're finding it impossible because the wolf has been let in the door. I can think of all the analogies. The cancer, you're in stage 4. It might be too late. We'll see. What I've always said from day one is we need massive failures, and we're starting to see that. I mean, is there a better example of get woke, go broke than G4 right now? And the Rings of Power. And She-Hulk. Last episode was written by Dana Schwartz. She should have dated as instead of wrote this episode. Matthew Hammond again for $5. Alex Jones was on Louder with Crowder this morning. I definitely recommend watching it. I will. I saw that. I love how they shot it. I like how it's all dark. I love that. I love Alex. I was on InfoWars last week. I know some people were speculating that I'm going to be joining InfoWars. I will go on there anytime they ask. I can say wholeheartedly, I will not be joining any networks. Not unless, unless of course my channel gets yeeted, then I might be open to it. But probably not. I'm old. I've had careers. I'm only 12 years away from retirement age. Although I don't think I'm getting any Social Security. Christopher Miller for $5. I don't know. I take one day at a time. I really don't think about it that much. I am truly not worried in the least bit about getting yeeted from YouTube. I mean, we've had Alex Jones on twice, Elijah Schaefer, controversial figures that we will have back, by the way, who we like. But we've survived all that. And by the way, the only Friday Night Tights that's demonetized for some reason is 2 weeks ago with Mahler and Disparu. I've got my guy working on that. It'll probably get flipped. And then when we were in San Diego with Dankula and Dave Landau, and I had COVID, and I do not remember the episode at all. That one's age restricted, and I just I'm not going to fight that one. I'm sure we said something pretty bad. And I'm dude, if we go over the line and we get age restricted on a live stream once in a while, it's worth it. If we get a laugh out of it, it's totally worth it. My first super chat. Oh, you can't hear that. Oh yeah, you can. Never mind. Welcome. I'll be gentle. Eric, oh my goodness. Mirzagalayev. Sorry, Eric. It's for 100 Norwegian krona, my first super chat. I had a dream a few days ago about being at a dinner party with you, Gary. Oh, wow. And X-Ray Girl. I don't know where this is going. We were discussing FNT, and I thought how great it would be to finally meet you. Love you all. Oh, well, I hope to meet you someday. I'll get over to Europe. I'll get over there. If you could make it to the UK. Waffle for 30 shekels. Guy Ladriel was born in 1362, the year of the trees, by the very first year of the Second Age. She's around 1,800 years old. Elves' teenage years, you are correct, are between 50 and 100 years. After the year, between that time, they are full-grown adults. They do age over long periods of time, but keep in mind, Galadriel was a ring bearer. Is far from being full of piss and vinegar. No, she's like in her elven 30s, mid-30s at that point, full-grown, mature adult. It could be more than that, but whatever. Ian Corellis for $9.99. If they if they could only do the appendices from Lord of the Rings, why wouldn't they have done the War of the North? And they could have played up the member berries and it would make more sense. I totally agree. There's the three big stories they could do, but if you want to have one that has like a decent ending that rolls right into Peter Jackson's, then you do the War of the Last Alliance. I would rather see the Fall of Numenor, and they don't have the rights. I mean, the War of Wrath would have to be animated. It would just, because you have basically giant gods fighting each other. But it'd still be awesome. It'd still be fracking awesome. I mean, fighting Morgoth would be like a Dio cover, you know? Ian Carell's for $9.99. Galadriel looks like one of the female mice from the American Tail films, if you recall those. I do. And she looks a lot like Jennifer Salk. I'll tweet out how much those two look alike. Jennifer Salk runs Amazon Studios. She's the one who yeeted Conan and greenlit Wheel of Time instead, and then Rings of Power. And today, I guess they announced Ridley Scott's doing a Blade Runner 2099 TV show. Daniel Green disclosed after consulting lawyers that Amazon attempted to intimidate him over Wheel of Prime coverage, implied that they did it again over Rings of Power. He isn't exactly anti-woke either. Yeah. And hey, listen, you cannot be anti-woke. You can be pro-woke, but if you at least have principles, I'm going to respect it. I'll totally disagree with you, but as Ryan said in the live stream, I will respect that. Sean Owens for $5. I'm going to start watching PJ's Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies on Prime every Friday when RLP airs, just to spite Amazon Hell the Fellowship. I would watch it on physical media if you can, or HBO Max. You won't have to pay extra for it if you have HBO Max. I do believe they're doing some kind of like free trial. The Happy Plague Doctor for $2. Mermaids versus Somali pirates. That way, I'd watch that. Omegalus for $10. Daniel Green disclosed they're consulting. Oh, I read that one. Sorry. Bethany for $2. Thank you, Bethany. Briar Rabbit is African folklore. I did not know that, Bethany. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, Southern folklore from the people who were taken there. Of course. Or it's African folklore, and the woke white lunatics who work for Disney wouldn't know that. Beetle Johnson for $2. The Ariel looks like a mahi. Looks like a mahi. Oh, goodness. I know what that is. I think I had mahi once. It's like, I can remember what fish I ate because it's like 3 times in my life. I've tried it. Like every other 15 years, I'm like, maybe I'll like it now. I don't. Dr. Chico for $10. I watch House of the Dragon every week because they write it like their audience has a functioning brain, doesn't verbally explain what I should be feeling. It wasn't a hard thing to do just a few years ago, for fuck's sake. You're right. And I said that in my review today. If you want to go check it out. If you haven't, it's cool too. Jarhead Joey for $10. Love all the content you make. Thank you. Would it be possible for you guys to check out the Second Breakfast Club's newest video compared House of the Dragon versus Rings of Power? It's only a minute long. I can do it later on in this for sure. DS Margus for $5. Have you listened to Domine? They are a power metal, or is it Domine? They're a power metal band, and most of their songs are about Elric and fantasy. Recommend the song Eternal Champion. Sweet. I will definitely check it out if they're doing stuff about Elric. Where am I in Elric of Melnibide? I am at... They just broke the mirror that has memories in it. And... The Chaos God, I'm blanking on the Chaos God's name, that warned Elric not to break the mirror, should have been listened to, because all the memories that were trapped in the mirror went and invaded his men and him and damn near killed him. He's trying to get back Cimarron, his girl, but that's we can't have that now. We can't have that. Inokmamon for $10. In Rings of Power, when Galadriel walked into a bar with a jumper cable and demanded a drink, and a bartender said, "Okay, just don't try to start something." Genius. BFF Tolkien black character would be proud. Would be proud. Thank you, Inokmamon. Michael Storm for 5 Martian pesos. Ryan Condell was hired by Amazon to do Conan the Barbarian. Yes, that was actually in a Midnight's Edge video, which was really good. But he got fired by Jennifer Salk. Morphic Clark is in self-insert. I believe that. Because his scripts were male-oriented. Well, they're freaking Conan scripts. They are full of the testosterone. Now he works on House of the Dragon. Yep, now he works on a show that... now, Parrot Analytics come back with some data saying that it came in third. I believe it came in third behind House of the Dragon and She-Hulk. I don't believe Parrot Analytics. They base all of their analytics off of hashtags and interaction with people, not actual viewing data. That means my hashtag, all my tweets and all my hashtags that say the Rings of Power on my videos and on Twitter count as basically a view. Well, I will tell you, when I review the Rings of Power, I do watch it once on Amazon Prime, but when I go back and do my video reviews where I have to go back, watch it, pause, everything like that, I don't. Shauna Bass for $10. If House of the Dragon continues to be faithful, it's going to make Game of Thrones look lame. Tumbleton, the Moon of Madness, Battle of Over the God's Eye, going to be wild. People aren't ready. Yeah, people aren't ready. Shauna, people are not going to be ready for the end either. But you're right. What about Blood and Cheese? Blood and Cheese. Yeah, people aren't ready. I still think it misses the White Walkers and that overarching theme within all the squabbling. This is just going to be the squabbling, but the squabbling is going to be brutal. Everybody's going, "Oh my God, the birthing thing. That was so brutal." That was nothing. That's it. For one, haven't any of you yeah, it's brutal that they cut her open without, they gave her milk of the poppy. But I've seen that happen. I have seen it happen. I was there. And it's brutal. But then a little baby comes out. And like my wife was fine. It's still not fun to see, man. Dragon Slayer commentaries for $5. The shots of the horse Galadriel is riding looks like it would be more pain than Galadriel is riding on. Looks to be in more pain than we are of the show. Poor horse. Yeah, I didn't even think about the poor horse. Stone Dog 1971 for $5. Jodie's last Doctor Who episode will be called "The Death of the First Female Doctor We Lovingly Call Dr. Karen." Yes. It's actually called Power of the Doctor. I'm surprised they didn't do Empowerment of the Doctor. 52 movies a year for $4.99. List of things I actively avoid. Watching Onion Rings of the Power. Watching Onion Rings of Power, watching Woman King, smashing my balls with a hammer. Yep. Well, the last two I definitely avoid. Rings of Power is so bad, Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire are reviewing it. Jose Contreras for $1.99. Yeah, that's good. Interesting. To Chris, praise the Woman King is cringe. Yeah, I think it's just a historical drama, but like you watch that trailer, it is marketed apparently to something it's marketing itself as something it just is. And well, that's just as bad in my opinion. And no, I would rather smash my balls against a table than watch it, to be honest with you. David Knight for £5 Love you guys, doing a great job. Jack the Giant Slayer is also doing great work. Pushing back, you are the last. George the Giant Slayer. George the Giant Slayer. I know what you're saying, though. The last alliance, you are the last alliance. There were some who resisted. We are some who resisted. There were some who resisted. And then Martha Clark says, we resisted, because it's supposed to remind you. Christopher Miller for $5. Gary, remember when Guy Ladriel was so awesome she kicked Sauron off the Nakatomi Tower? That was the best ever. Tolkien Reborn. F6 Blue for £5 British. Celeborn is spending a year dead for tax purposes. Little hitchhiker deep cut there. Thank you. Matsus Tokarski. Check out Saint Maud. It's a horror movie starring Clark, and I think she acts really well. I guess her performance in Rings of Power is mostly bad direction. She had to take therapy to play a warrior. She was just miscast. Enoch Mamon for $5. It saddens me that the Legion of Memers haven't put horse riding Galadriel face onto Mrs. Over's face when she's in bed with a horse in airplane. Well, Enoch Mamon, let them know. They'll do it. They'll do it for you. The Legion of Memers abides. The Legion of Memers abides. Scribble Wizard for $2. Even as a tapestry, the image makes me sad. That's the painting. Loco Miguel for 200 Japanese yen. Hell, Gary, sorry we couldn't talk at AMU All Rock. Oh, at Anime Matsuri. Okay. You All Rock. I'm sorry we couldn't either. Next time. I only went there for one day. There's a Dallas Expo coming up, but it's the weekend of the finale of Rings of Power. But I still might go up because Matt Smith's going to be there. Thunderstorm for $4.99. Woke art is poopsicle without a hammer. Yep. Fifth Down Sports for $5. What is a showrunner? Is their job just to lie there to do is their job just to lie to customers? Partially. Is there any example of good showrunners? Yeah, I mean, Vince Gilligan from Chris Carter from X-Files, Vince Gilligan from X-Files, Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad. I would say that before everything went woke, Noah Hawley was a very good showrunner. I would say Joss Whedon before he went, or the mask came off before he went completely crazy, was a good showrunner. Drew Goddard for Daredevil Season 1 was a good showrunner. Very few out there, though. Very few good ones. Very, very few. Hernandez Professional Accounting for $5 says, hit the like button. Thank you. Brian Bresnay for $4.99. What other Game of Thrones shows would you like to see come out someday? I personally would love a show about Sir Arthur Dayne. I would, yeah. Duncan Egg, Doom of Valeria, Robert's Rebellion, and a remake of A Song of Ice and Fire. Okay, are we doing Dream World here with a finished book series? But like, I want a finished book series. That's like, I fuck all these shows. I just want finished books. All right, so that's the last nooner. We're going to head into the last Rings of Power. This is from episode 2. Hebrew Monk for $2. You're saying, so you're saying they moneyballed art. It is sad that these are out, that these are so-called artists right now. That is a really good way to put it. If you know what moneyball is, it's basically like using analytics, using statistics. The A's kind of perfected it. And yeah, that's what they're doing with streaming right now. I totally believe that. I mean, they're basing everything on analytics and not creativity. And that's what's also driving the woke content from the ESG plus political pressure from the producers who are risk averse. So they would rather call you a racist than be called one. Do you understand how that works? It's very simple. All this woke Hollywood shit is because the powers that be don't want to be called a racist, and they would much rather call you one, although they're the racist, shielding themselves behind what they call marginalized people of color. These are not terms I use. These are not terms I will ever use. I will call someone by their name. I may describe somebody by the color of their skin, but I would describe a white guy like that too. So, but that's it. I would never judge somebody on it. But they are. They are now hiring people just because they're black. That doesn't help anybody. That's just as bad as hiring somebody just because they're white. When you're saying that things are okay, things are not okay for a majority of people except for one, even though that one might be somebody you perceive as the enemy, it's still wrong. Your perception doesn't make it right. I know none of you think like that. That's why the audience is much smarter than I am. Have a great night, sir, says that one guy for $2. Thank you. Lyra for $5. These are all donations, by the way. I like the dwarves and Elrond, the actor's screen presence, not the character. If they're not in the episode, I'm not watching. Thanks for the recap, and rest in peace, the Queen. Lyra, thank you for your comments. Thank you for the $5. Rest in peace, the Queen. Yeah, I'm in a way like what I would have rather have had is a good Rings of Power show, but I think the lesson being learned from it is so valuable that I'm glad it turned out this way. Because it's really waking up people up to like, hey, we're just criticizing a TV show on its merits. I will question casting, and the reason I will question casting, which I've said multiple times in my videos, is it's a red flag what they're going to do with the story. With the story. You can certainly cast whoever the fuck you like. It's whatever. I had no doubt that they were going to do stuff like that. But I really hope we get to a place where we're casting where it makes sense creatively, and we're not trying to push a massive message and be what Ismael Cruz says is be disruptive. Because I thought you were here to entertain us, but no, you're actually here to be disruptive. So this is an act of activism. That's what's pissing us off. It's the act. It's not your skin color, dude. It's not where you're from, dude. Don't care. Amazon actors. End of quote. Repeat the line. Says Flag Ninja for $5, right? Renato Mento for $5 Australian dollars. Old and busted. Fandom menace. New hotness. The Fellowship of the Fans. I like the Fellowship. I've said this before, and like if people want to use Phantom Menace, great. I have no problem with it. It's when people start what I believe hashtags do is get us and get you put into a corner. And it also inadvertently associates you with things that are well beyond your control. Anybody can use a hashtag. That's what I've always said the Fandom Menace should have been. It just evolved into it. Like, the hashtag it's still there. People still use it, and that's fine. And that's totally fine. But when it comes to content creators, specifically, not you guys out there, not just the general person who's going to work and working hard and actually making this world go, I'm talking about the content creators, us. Not as important as you. There was some they felt like they had say over other people's channels. Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of, well, you shouldn't interview this person and that and no. I think we all stay individuals. That's why I love my FNT crew. How long we've been together now. There's no real drama between any of us, which is fucking rare because we just don't sweat the small stuff. Not worried about fucking top billing or any of that bullshit. I don't care. I mean, If Geeks and Gamers gets top billing over me, good. Don't care. I could give a shit. Not worried about that billing stuff. It's ridiculous. To paraphrase South Park, fiction has been around longer than us and influenced the world more than us. Doesn't that make it more real than any of us? Fiction does matter and will always matter. Deceptions forever for $10, for 10 Australian dollars. You are correct. Stories have always mattered. We have stories that go back tens of thousands of years, oral traditions. They've been a huge part of our life, and that's how we communicate with each other, and that's how we connect with each other. Oliver Marcel Bergard for €5. I screwed that up. I couldn't watch more than 30 minutes of The Rings of Power. I tried, really tried. The black elf versus the white drunk scene was so woke, I felt my IQ drop 50 points. Yeah, they're so on the nose. You people slapping chains on ankles. I mean, like I said in my video, metaphorical symbolism. Yeah, Tolkien was all about that. Chris Mays for $9.99. Sorry, Gary, your take on the episode is wrong. It is the worst episode of the 3. I wanted to throw something the whole time. All lore completely discarded. Nothing made sense. I hated it. I might be. I have to reassess. I still think, okay, Christopher, they all suck. They all suck shit. I just thought the second one was the worst because it was basically repeating everything from the first over again. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong about that. We still got 5 episodes to go. Ironside for $10. Thanks for the late stream and having some of us from having to watch this crap and saving some of us from having to watch this crap ourselves. Also, really been enjoying your streams with Chris Gore. Shad, cheers to you and the fellowship. Thank you. Chris joins me every Wednesday for the Nerdrotic Nooner. It's lots of fun, and Shad is just a hell of a guy. Shad and Mahler are they're menches, those guys. They're good. They will be joining me Sunday for House of the Dragon at 9:10 p.m. Central Time. I say Pacific once in a while. I lived in the Pacific time zone for 52 years. You'll have to forgive me, but it's Central. I think it's cute that Tolkien came up with the Tempest to describe the time of the month. I assume that was Tolkien, right? It says see it twice for $5. Sure. Scenarius Asari for $4.99. How much growth can a 5,000-year-old elf have that departed Middle Earth around 8,000? Apparently a lot more. John Q. Ghost for $5. Thank you. Nothing to say, but thank you. Ulfinor Berserker. Ulfinor Berserker for $5. But Gary, I'm going to have to watch this crap in order to do my review, probably heavily intoxicated while doing so. Well, I almost envy you that you can get intoxicated. I cannot. So I'm going to go in dry. Wolfsbane 1 for $2 Australian. How the fuck is Isildur alive? R.I.P. Cannon. Well, he shouldn't be. If Galadriel's around. Bilbo Teabaggins for £5 An absolute identity crisis. We weren't allowing Peter Jackson, The Lord of the Rings, yet the Balrog is an exact copy of Durin's Bane. Can't wait for Sauron. Well, you're already seeing him. Travis Tingle for $10. Speaking about the fall of Gilgalad, Clamavi de Profundis did that and a bunch of covers from the song from Tolkien. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm going to play it tonight. I'll play it tonight. The one from the BBC radio series. It's really good, and I won't get copyright hit for it. Would have loved having them do a theme instead of whatever the song from the trailer was. Yeah, like Bear McCreary, I don't mean to, although Bear McCreary, fuck you for calling fans racist, but I respect your work with Battlestar Galactica. Paul Turner for $5. Hi, Gary. For the people that are enjoying the show, do you think it's mostly casuals or hardcore fans that are lying to themselves? Yes. I think the answer to that question is yes. They're starting to come around, though. For those of you who've been around the channel and many others, you recognize the pattern. Fans want to be hopeful. I get that part. But first couple episodes, there's a lot of clapback. You're just seeing woke things in the weeds. You're seeing ghosts. You're just imagining woke things. And by episode 5 or 6, it's either crickets or people going, it's not that good. Like, you're already starting to see people turn on She-Hulk because it's fucking awful. Made a 20-minute video on positive male role models. Good. DS9, Best of Worf, submitted 13 edits before CBS would stop claiming copyright. Yeah, they're bastards. They're bastards. Wiley Motorsports, SP for $10. CBS would stop claiming the copyright. Less than a day later, CBS claimed 99% of it and blocked it worldwide. You need to fight that. You need to fight that. We got to make that form available. There's a form that I use that Ryan got me that has worked, I would say, 9 out of 10 times. Because transformative is transformative. MJ for $5. My favorite part of the new series is when Frodo accepts that he's trans and Samwise takes responsibility for his white privilege. That's my favorite part too. Skits 3D for $5. Looks like Whoopi forgot that we found the real Hobbit bones. Yes. The View is where I got the J.K. Tolkien thing from. Oh, Weird Monkey Guy for $2. Did they say J.K. Tolkien? Did they? Oh my God, I need that audio. Tossie for 20 Australian dollars. Money for beer. Woohoo. Hey, I will pass it on to the wife. She likes beer. Howdy, Gary. Do you think that Bezos, in excitement, thought he was getting Lord of the Rings right, but later found out otherwise and just rolled with it? VTR for $9.99. I think he trusted the people he hired. I mean, I don't want to defend Bezos. He is a trillionaire, but I doubt he was involved with the production. I'm sure he gave notes because he's rich and nobody tells him no. You can buy and sell you and me. But I think he just trusted the people he hired. But word on the street is he's pissed. He's pissed and others are pissed. And heads are going to roll, whether they will be fall guys, outright firings, or demotions. But that's happening. That's going to happen. Promise you. You do not have a response like this. And honestly, they should. And this is something that Kathleen Kennedy should have done. That's what Disney should have done. That's what Kevin Feige should have done. When you have a split in the fandom, and this is like, fuck that. Lord of the Rings is way beyond a split. It's the vast majority. But when you have a massive split and half your audience is pissed, you're not doing something right. If I was running my comic shop and half my customers were pissed, it'd be all hands on deck. We need to fix this right fucking now. And of course, no toy sales for Rings of Power either. House of the Dragon already has some. Also by White Frank non-woke games and books. Renato Mento for $20 Australian dollars. Is there? I would probably get a 1/6 scale Daemon Targaryen if it came with a dragon. I probably would get that. I had all the Game of Thrones 1/6 scales and I sold them all. I sold them all. I sold everything. I had the only thing I've kept is like book related stuff, like maps, collectible printings and stuff. So anything book related I kept, but anything show related, I think the only thing I have left are the little Funko mini action figures. Yeah, right there. I got Jon Snow. He's up there. Perk Tube 1 for $2. Rings of Power would be great if the women just cooked more. Ho! I'm wondering. I can't see when I run this through OBS. I got to figure this out. Maybe somebody can help me. I can't hear my sound effects. I can't hear my soundboard unless I have my headphones on. So let's see. Yep, you're getting the. I can't mess with anything right now because my stream is set up for tonight. So if you're going to see this while I'm okay, so if you're going to see this on the 15th, I will be live at 12:15 Central to do my live review of the Rings of Power. I'll be doing a review that will come out Sunday. I'm also doing a Marvel video that might come out before. It depends. Perry's working on it. I kind of give him a little extra time. It's a short video, but I think it's to the point. Like I said, it was supposed to be a She-Hulk review, turned into something else. Might as well cast Mr. Beans for Golem. Casting and storytelling, dumpster fire. Well, and Mr. Bean would actually probably be like the entertaining thing in it. Elendil is 7'11" tall. Isildur is 7 foot tall. Exactly. Galadriel is 6'4". And where is Celeborn? The Doctor 14 Blu-ray reviews. I'm glad to see you still around. I know you don't like me, but I got to say, for somebody who doesn't like me, the Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews has been around my channel for years. And he says, rest in peace, the Queen. And in that, I salute you, sir. I'm down. Rest in peace, the Queen. However you felt about the monarchy. So I'm not a big fan either. But even Johnny Lydon came out today, lambasted his bandmates for exploiting the fact that she died. Exploiting dead people is wrong. It is bad. It is bad karma. And it's a massive character flaw that should be looked at. I got nothing against Queen Elizabeth. Some of her offspring, but now's not the time. Now's a time of mourning for a country. She's part of a country's culture. A lot of people like her. A lot of people who watch me and this channel like her. I've got a huge, only 6% female, but 25% UK. 25% for some idiot in Texas. So that I respect. God save the Queen. Why has it become trendy that criticism is racism? Asks Revia for €2. It's been building up for quite a while. And I think, like I said, I would have rather had a good Rings of Power show, but its disaster has taught us a valuable lesson and woke up a lot of people who are just going, wait a minute. I heard that gal's review or that guy's review, and I'm looking at Jane Theory, and I don't think she has internalized racism. I think she just doesn't like the show. I think Critical Drinker just doesn't like the show. Mahler's being called racist. Listen to Mahler's stuff. Just, you can get a gist of it. Go listen to his streaming. Go listen to his videos. He does not get political. He criticizes the film based on everything that's in the film or the TV show. That's his shtick. That's his brand. That's what he does. And he does it better than anybody. I like to make a joke here and there. I'm going to get called stuff because I'll make jokes. Check out Galadriel's key art on IMP award site. She isn't even holding her sword. It's just floating in between her hand, her hip and her hand. Yeah, I saw that, Ryan Benoit, for $10. It was the key art that, like, when you went, it was art that they were putting out on Twitter, and it was on the site itself. And Galadriel's like looking at, and they just photoshopped a sword over her hand. $1 trillion company. Might as well cast. Oh, I read that one. Is it too much for me? Too much of a nit for me to be pissed that Galadriel's hair is utterly frizzy and disheveled at the beginning of the episode? That isn't an elf at all. No. These are higher forms of life. They are literally better than us in every aspect. They're wiser. They're calmer. They're more spiritual. They're more in tune with nature. They're physically more attractive. They're stronger. They're more athletic. They're more agile. They're superheroes compared to us. Even compared to the Numenorians, which are kind of like Captain America, right? You know, you wonder how, like, Aragorn could have fought off the Nine by himself on Weathertop. It's because he's fucking Dunedain. He's Numenorian. He's a man of the West. the great people, as Gandalf called them in the books. No, it's not too much of a nit. I don't think so. Perk 2-1 for $2. Rings of Power would be great. Oh, I read that one. RJ Animation for $5. For the amount of money used making Amazon Prime's new Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, I was not impressed. I was mostly disappointed. You and a lot of people, RJ Animation. Thank you for the $5. Flag Ninja for $5. Peter Jackson was on the back foot with the Hobbit movies. He wasn't supposed to direct them and had far less pre-production time that he needed and wanted, and still managed to make something that I can find enjoyment in. A little long. Hate the love triangle. 48 frames per second. I didn't mind it as much until you got to Goblin Town and it looked like little miniatures running around. Iru kind of forgot, says Max R for $2. That's good. Coffee Sama for $1.99. There's only one way to fix this. Hashtag call Peter. Yes. Buck Naked for $5. Hey, Gary, I love the part where Gandalf stared deeply into Nori's eyes and said, I am Groot. Ryan Benoit for $10. Check out Guylat. Okay, I read that one. Dog is good for $20. Dogs are good. Do you think they can salvage the show in another season? My favorite show of all time is TNG, and the first 2 seasons are pretty bad and a lot of cringe, to be honest. If Bezos fired everyone and even recast, could it be saved? I think, yes, it could be saved if you fired everyone and recast it and like started again. The difference between TNG and Rings of Power is it's not an overarching story. So you have episodic television, and I can find enjoyment, and I love the premiere episode, the premiere episodes of TNG. Love it. Love Q. Love it. Sure, there are some cringe episodes, but it's not anywhere near as bad as this. Like, you can see where there was potential back then. Plus, we also didn't have a choice, right? There was like 4 TV networks, okay? 3. There was 3 at the time. Lavish Patch Kid for $5. Which show's lead do you think will come out as a lesbian first? Guaranteed they're both going to, LOL. Well, Muriel is all by her lonesome. I think that what they're going to do is show the women in companionship and just allude to it. I don't think I have heard there will be LGBTQ plus representation is the things I've said months ago. See, the thing is, I don't make videos about my spoilers. I mention them in live streams, and if you guys catch it, cool. If you don't, cool. Because I just don't want to get in that game. I don't want to get in the pooper scooper game or the spoiler game, but like people reach out to me, so I'll share it with you in the live streams. And that's an incentive to watch the live streams. Like, for example, Critical Drinker came out today and said what I said on Friday Night Tights, and I know this because Critical Drinker and I are talking to the same person. So, and that's good. And like, if he gets all the credit, good. I like the Critical Drinker. I think he's a great human being. So, he can have it all. It doesn't matter to me. And it was about She-Hulk. So She-Hulk was supposed to come out when Ms. Marvel came out, and they flipped them because She-Hulk was, and I quote from my source, a really, really fucking bad show. A really, really fucking bad show. And we're seeing the improved version now. But it put Ms. Marvel under the gun, and they had to do a lot of stuff. Now, I have only watched 2 episodes of Ms. Marvel. It's not for me. I don't think it's very good. I don't like the character, but yeah, I'm just not like, when Ms. Marvel goes in the Marvels, I'll probably criticize the character, but a show for teenage girls, like, I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to criticize it. Plus, I don't know, maybe I'm getting soft in my old age, but I don't want to criticize something with like this little teenage girl as a star and it's her first role. I guess I have my limits. My cold black heart has its limits. So I wasn't like, that's the only Disney Plus show I missed. Tatiana Maslany, who I liked in Orphan Black. Dana Schwartz, I'll tear them to shreds, no problem. Metaphorically, with criticism, of the content they made, not them as people. The Argonath for $10. Missed you at Chrissy Mayer's show tonight. Yeah, I had to stay and do the live stream. She killed it. Mrs. Nerdrotic and Foulball Productions were awesome to hang with, however. The Argonath, I'm sorry I missed you. I got invited to InfoWars, and I couldn't, make 2 trips up to Austin, even though it's an hour away, because, this is go time for Nerdrotic. The holiday season is go time. We had a dry spell, folks. There was a lot of movies that weren't coming out. They're still not coming out. COVID was a huge entertainment dry spell, and this is what I started my channel to do, was to review television. Of course, I will do the news and react to fucking woke Hollywood. None of that shit's changing. This is just what I like to do. Like House of the Dragon. It's not good. It's sad, but it's a fact that it's not going to get the interaction that Rings of Power. Now, there's good reasons for this. Game of Thrones Season 8 was a total fucking disaster, and not everybody's going to come back to that. And if you never do, I do not blame you at all. And I'm not ready to jump on the train yet. I'm just saying so far it's good. But I just want to make those videos. I want to make a video about something I like. I also have another one in mind that's going to be spawned out of She-Hulk. That's going to be a video on something I absolutely love. It's my favorite thing, and you'll have it by Christmas. You'll have it by the holidays if you want to see it. But I'm going to spend a ton of time on it because, this one I want to get right. I want to get it right. But thanks for going, and hope you had a good time. Foul Ball is good dude. Matt's good dude. Mr. Nerdrotic is awesome. And Chrissy's awesome. She's not going to be with us this Friday, so we'll just have Shad again. The Desi Thinker for $10. Plot armor on Arendir was so thick that all the elves were killed but him. Galadriel's attitude and dialogue are getting cringier each episode. You're right there. Now, somebody called me out saying this episode was worse than the second, and dialogue-wise, I'm going to have to concede on that one. At least show Halbrand Galadriel's sex scene, please. Yeah. You almost got to say the most fucking interesting part in this, and this is low bar, is we're waiting for Halbrand to turn into Sauron. The only shot I truly liked was this silhouette of Sauron standing. And I can't wait for you guys to see my 1-in-1 Sauron helmet. It's huge. And it's going to go, I think, right there. Right there. The American flag. And then you only see part of Spider-Man. It's standing in front of Comics Division's door. Decepticons forever for $2 Australian. Hail Nerdrotic and chat. One more into the breach. Yes. All right. That wraps it up for September 8th, Rings of Power. We are now going to September 1st, Rings of Power.
Friday Night Tights! You're about to get frostbitten!
Get
Fasten your seatbelts, it's gonna be a bumpy
ride.
All you geeks and gamers better stop jerking off to me, okay? I smell like burnt hair and Julie. That isn't stopping you. I fuck you like you're retarded because I think you're all retarded. I see the chat. I see you in the chat. Hit an F right now. Jerking off to your girl. Frostbitten.
Go,
Now press F if you're not jerking off. Frostbitten.
Go, fight!
Friday Night Tights.
Get him!
Frostbitten.
Go,
Now press F if you're not jerking off. I see the chat. I see you in the chat. Hit an F right now. Jerking off to your girl. I'll wait.
Weird!
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
I am not qualified. Go ahead. Make my day.
Get him!
Call me Beaver Barbie.
Bitch, you're that goddamn ugly.
I jerked off to the dislike ratio.
I'm not hot to you.
No.
What in the heck did I just walk into?
Wow. People keep confusing me for prepubescent Justin Bieber. Someone in the chat called me Eminem mid-transition. Frostbitten.
Go,
Now press F if you're not jerking off. Frostbitten.
Go, fight!
Friday Night Tights.
Get him!
Frostbitten.
Go,
Now press F if you're not jerking off. I see the chat. I see you in the chat. Hit an F right now. Jerking off to your girl. I'm standing up for all the women at G4: Emily, Abby, Megan, Joe, Jake, Zipper, Pockets, Scissors, Tape Dispenser, and Filing Cabinet. X-Ray girl, she is a beautiful young Oriental. X-Ray girl,
Give me cock. Ask them the price of cock.
X-Ray girl, does not exist for you to stroke your chopstick to. You don't like it? Go somewhere else. Peace.
All I know is that dyke can play.
And that was, of course, the great Chrissy Mayer on Friday Night Tights to celebrate Frost getting all of her colleagues fired. Bibbidi Blop for $1.16. Gary, please check your emails. Sent some Lord of the Rings themed Nerdrotic channel intros. Also, absolutely loving all the Rings of Power content. Ooh, I'll look at them. And I'll see if I can use some tonight. Dirty Saying for $5. Love what you do, man. Keep those woke feet to the fire. Is there any plans to do a meetup in the great city of San Antonio soon? Oh, there will be. It'll probably be around the holidays. We'll probably do it like during Christmas vacation. Humunculus Pride for $5. And thanks for asking, by the way. I'm rejecting this woke garbage dumpster fire by ignoring it and binging The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings special extended editions, extended ladies. This week, keep up the great content, Gary. Thank you. You are the voice this community fellowship needs and appreciates. Thank you. I appreciate it. Those were donations. We are now on to the super chats from the first. Got a few. 30. Eskimono Phono. What's up, Eskimono Phono? How the hell are you? For $2. Going to be a fun journey. Yes, it is. Eskimono Phono has been around this channel since way before 50,000. I think before 20,000. Early days. Cream Polo for £2 Thank you. All the best from the UK. Love the UK. Can't wait to go back. I miss your country. It's one of my favorite countries in the world. I love London. I really love the countryside out there. It's great. I can't wait to go back. HH for $5 and that's just a donation. Thank you very much, HH. Florian Führer for €5. Didn't they say in the show The Shadows of Mordor 2 female Nazguls? Oh, in the game? I don't know. I own it and I've never played it. But I promise you there will be a female Nazgul. I don't know this for a fact. I'm just taking a very educated guess based on these morons. Now, again, I was given some information last night. Not really sure. I'm going to keep it vague because I'm not sure what I'm allowed to share. Heads are going to roll. Whether it's demotions or firings, I'm not sure. We'll find out. That should come as a surprise to no one. Athiel Ale for 10 Chilean pesos. Thank you for the donation. It's a CHF. That could be something completely different. Crimea. I can't even say Crimea. I was going to say Crimea. Crimea. I have no idea. Eric K for $5. Get your Geek Grind coffee. Great for waking up after the late stream. Yeah. Links in the description. Probably throw the commercial on at the end. A Seek Yoda for $5. Part of me would rather shit in both hands and clap than watch this show. But overall, he had to misspell shit to make it through the super chat. That took me a second. But overall, I want to share in the dumpster fire that the show is. Yes, as long as you can hang on. I mean, I think so many people have already dipped. I don't believe they're 25 million at all. I think it was more probably around like a few million. If that. Mike Zilla for $1 or for £1.79. Is it true they are making Joker 2 a musical? Yes, that is true. Elizabeth Taylor for $5. Gary, wow, thank you, Elizabeth Taylor. I salute and thank you for your sacrificing your sanity watching this bizarro Middle Earth, because I refuse to watch this pile of Mumakil dung. I don't blame you, Elizabeth. I hope you're doing well in the netherworlds. Brett Carlton for $2. There's the cartoons and mixed action movie also. Well, they're going to be, I don't know if we're talking about Rings of Power. There's going to be a War of the Rohirrim, which I'm actually looking forward to. Mostly gluten for $20. Random thought, would it have helped the Predator franchise if it had went the same route as the Leprechaun movies? Super cheesy. No, I think they just need to stop going away from the ultra alpha male that it needs to be. It just needs to be Predator versus uber alpha male. It's a simple formula that they refuse to do because it's toxic masculinity. Hey, Gary, did you read my previous super chat? Luka Pilpovic. I will, because this goes backwards, so it will be read. What the hell? Peter version 1 for $4.99. Continued. Oh, I see. Now I got it because this is backwards. Hang on. I'm going to have to pause this. So I must have read the first one on the show and missed the second one. Sorry. Peter version 1 for $4.99 continued, showing how everyone, no matter what race, power, was always craved, be it dwarf, elf, or human. Only saw the films. Didn't Galadriel have a ring? She did, but it's later. It's later. Shane Kirkpatrick for $10. People gave the Shadow of Mordor game flack for the liberties that it took with the lore, just replayed them and loved it. It's a game. It's a game. It would be better if they didn't they do a Lord of the Rings game of the actual movie? I seem to remember that they did, but I could be wrong. Joseph Mitchell for $6.99. Do you think they'll pull the plug on the show prematurely or write it out till the bitter, unoriginal end? Based on what I hear, no. Based on what I hear, no. Kane Starkiller for $10. Big media must accept the creators working an established franchise should understand the source material and existing fans. They're fitting round pegs into square holes, then blaming us. Kane, you are 100% correct. Eskimo Phono for $5. If it was Tobey Maguire's dong, he would have found all the reviews. You're right. And we actually made a sound clip for that. Joseph Botcher for $50. Thank you for the $50, Joseph. Sorry, I missed that. Thank you for the donation. Rohit for 40 Indian pesos. They just wanted it to be the next Game of Thrones, but LOL, right? Can I get a shout out? Started reading the books, says Joseph Botcher for $20. Of course. Dude, read the books. They're awesome. Luke Pilpovic for $10 Australian dollars. Embracer is the parent company of the insanely woke Saints Row reboot that just came out. Oh no, where the characters talk about student loans and look like Starbucks hipsters. I wouldn't put faith in them. Not going to. Ibrahim Korneko for $1. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. What are your thoughts on the Embracer merger? Arthur Rice for $2.99. Not much, other than it will keep the Lord of the Rings from being remade. But I think it's just going to be like phone games and shit. Not anything I'm ever going to play. I stayed up late for this review. Thanks, Snowdub. What's up, brother? Bass player 2011 iffy for $5. Celebrimbor. Didn't know about Khazad-dûm. He helped make and put his initials on the doors of Durin. What the hell? I know. And it's actually mentioned in the book. I know. And he was the craftsman. Of course he's going to be friends with craftsmen, with miners, with people who like jewelry, okay? Hi, Gary. I just purchased a of J.R.R. Tolkien's art called Pictures of J.R.R. Tolkien, selected by Christopher Tolkien. Excellent. That's awesome. That is awesome. Mr. Fish for 10 Australian dollars. Good purchase. Pew Monger for $4.99. There's 12 years a slave, then there's 5 seasons of Rings of Power. The latter seems way worse. What was audience reaction? Anyone love it? Brado Jacko, no. It's very quiet. There was a one sympathy clap in the theater. Remember, I drove 3 hours to watch it because they did not premiere it in Austin or San Antonio. Weird. Hey, Gary, did you think Rings of Power won the most expensive Get Woke or Broke award? Yes. Yes. I think it is the best example. The Argonaut for $5. God bless you for driving to Waco and back and then doing this live stream on top of it. Pfft, my pleasure. That's a lot of nuts for $2. Started reading Lord of the Rings again. So good. And that is the good that's come out of it, is so many people have picked up the books. So there is a lot of good that has come out of this. Here's a few shekels for your suffering today. Thank you, Rob the Builder, for $2. I appreciate it. And that wraps it up for the Rings of Power. Now we're on to House of the Dragon from September 4th. Tear in the Black for $4.99. The tapestry is the depiction of Maegor's bedding, where it was basically an orgy. That is correct. Ben from the Upside Down Under for 10 Australian dollars. Thanks, Gary, for recommending Primal. Great contrasting character dynamic and portrayal of a strong female protagonist. Such a good show. Xavier, by the way, funny. Xavier Saverheart for 5 Australian dollars. Hey, Gary, I have a 1971 copy of The Hobbit and hand-drawn cover by Tolkien of Smaug getting shot above Lake Town, and it has his signature on it. That is fucking awesome. Oh, I wish I had one of those. I'll find one eventually. Hopefully it's just not a gazillion, trillion, bazillion dollars. Rings of Power has created a new genre called fantasy. Ooh. I'm going to, knife-wielding woman. I'm going to give you credit, but I'm going to say that tonight. Can you check out my latest Johnny Freeze video confirming the Rings of Power can't count? I'll check it out. Yeah. Anti-Pattern Zero for $5. Rocker 6723 for $5. Do you think Rings of Power is doubling the numbers because they dropped episode 1 and 2 the same day so they combine the views? Yes, I absolutely do. Pete Frazee for $5. One of my favorite book series is The Ranger's Apprentice. It's a great medieval series. I'll have to look into that. Andrew McCarty for $4.99. Also, I'm going to see Wrath of Khan in the theaters. Best Star Trek media. Absolutely. Have you guys seen One Piece? No, I have not. But I have a lot of DVDs and books to go through. If so, what's your thoughts? It's one of the series that the author took the time to care. Like Tolkien, it's also one of those that you enjoy, that you have to enjoy your reading. Manga is better. Top 5. There you go. Thank you for $19.99. Offer Knave for $5. Shad, what's your opinion on Rand Athal practice the sword against 5 or 6 components at once? I'm going to have to remember that one and ask him, because that one I don't know. Andrew Odette for $4.99. How do you feel about buying merch when it's a character or a story you like and then there is no other merch, but it's from a poor adaptation? I'm fine with that. You know, like what I consider, I mean, even though I sold them all, but what I consider getting like a Jon Snow 1/6 scale and just it's from the books. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I've done that with a couple of things. I buy them secondhand, though. I don't just make sure I don't give the money to the company. Don't spoil the way of King's Shad. Ditzy. He won't. Thank you for 50 Filipino pesos. Really nice to see you being into something. Hope this show continues to be good. An Unexpected Fire for $4.99. I get into stuff once in a while. I did a nice long stream on Nerdrotic Live with Mahler talking about Stranger Things. Xavier Savior Hart for 5 Australian dollars. I came in late into the Lofty and Shad debate. However, Shad won with Lofty laughing in mockery of his own defeat. Put Sam Hyde into the EFAP, Mahler. I'll tell him that. Cornelius Bernelius for $5. And yeah, Shad beat him. Look at what Damon did at the tournament. It shows his character. Yep. Speaking moistly for 10 Canadian pesos, when Galadriel rode up on her magnificent steed and addressed the Scottish army saying, "They may take our lives, but they will never take our freedom," brought me to tears. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Absolutely. Reverend Al for €5. Guys, do you remember when Galadriel asked Sauron, what's the airspeed velocity of a stone? But she asked him a racist one or a transphobe stone. Oh, good. Is it a racist or transphobe stone? I get it. Bass player 2011 Effie for $20. LOL. Yeah, they walk 120 miles to Khazad-dûm only to be told no one gets in to see the wizard. Not no way, not no how. I see a bleak future for everyone where Rings of Power finishes its run, much like the Game of Thrones cast after season 8. Yep. Tom Corrali for $19.99. My favorite scene from Rings of Power is when Galadriel said, "You have my sword," and Legolas said, "You have my bow," and Gimli said, "You have my axe." Absolute chills. Such feels. Tolkien Reborn. Avar Jantz for $5. Nerdrotic, you noticed that they introduced Galadriel the same way that Spock in 2009 Trek movie. How did the kids fighting like they... Oh, that's right. That's absolutely right. They had Spock being bullied. And they only have one playbook. God, that is a great point. Objectively a cat for $2. Bold of you guys to assume time is linear in Rings of Power. I know, right? It's Saru Ma'am. Saru Ma'am. Says Belish the Bard for $2. Christian Wolf for $4.99. Given there's a market for human breast milk amongst bodybuilders, I wonder how much they'd pay for some She-Hulk milk. What's... Now that's some muscle milk. There you go. You earned it. You earned it. Barely, but you earned it. Shri Soshi for $4.99. I don't know about the others, but I'm genuinely glad Tony died in Endgame. They would have castrated his character if he had still been alive. Maybe. I think it was a dumb move, though. Just use their language, Gary. Finrod was fridged. Also, I'm ashamed to share a name with Waldron, says Michael, for $4.99. Sorry. And you're right. Shad, more Dalen Wen. Check Ancient Sud Soap. Says Ancient Suds for $2. Andrew Clark for $5. Stitch just said 10 seconds ago that the Rings of Power being horrible is too harsh. Guys, invite him on. No. He has a right to his opinion, though. Olaf for 100 Swedish krona. And he said we're being too harsh on it. Whatever. Yeah. So did Lofty. It is quite nice to hear you three talking positively about a show again. Your rants are entertaining and true, but the positive one brings true joy. Oh, that's nice. Thanks. Muffler Dad for $4.99. Gary, there's another $5. Your channel has been a joy to follow as you have grown. By the way, I love metal. Check out Pig Destroyer Prowler in the Yard. Will do. And I freaking love metal. Andre Gabriella for $6.99. I think this is Canadian. Hey, everyone, Chad, I've always wanted to ask what those books were behind the shelf, the ones next to your book with the colored spines. And he did ask that during the stream, and that did get answered. New Craftsman for $4.99. Acting something the Rings of Power cast should try. Absolutely. Lance for $4.99. If we don't see the two leads get slammed, it will be a shame, in Gary's sarcastic voice. It will be such a shame. Shane Bentley for $10. I love you guys, and David Spade and Chris Farley kind of love. Of course. Super not gay, right? Super not gay. John Q. Ghost for $20. Thank you for the donation. Appreciate it. Johnny J for $9.99. Thought Valerians were immune to a lot of viruses, including grayscale, and it's just stuff like the flu. I guess there is Jacaeri's daughter got sick with the shivers, but normally they don't get the flu. So I just think it shows that the Targaryen bloodline is diminishing. Dorne was a desert that armies starved attacking. Chris Pitt for $1.99. You are correct. The Waltman 4 for $4.99. So how did the discussion with Lofty turn out last night? I had to bail out mid-argument for work's sake. It went in circles, but Shad, I think, soundly defeated him. Gary was Lord of the Rings in youth. Shad was Wheel of Time, so funny as Song of Ice and Fire rules over all. Hold that, you little crackers. This is hilarious. You should shill. You lot shill now. Mwahaha. I'm being called a little cracker. It's Peckerwood. It's Peckerwood. Honretta Avon for £5 British. Space Cake for £5 British. Really overcompensating for their own casting choices with the pure Valerian line in every episode starting to get irritating. That was irritating and stupid. The King's fingers got cut off. Yes, they did, Grim, for $2 Australian. Titus Moeller for $5. Apologies for off topics. Okay, question. I have started getting into Doctor Who and curious for each of your takes on who as the best or worst doctor and companion and why. Okay, prior to the first female doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, Clara is by far the worst companion. The worst doctor is the first female doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker. All the previous doctors I like quite a bit. Even like the 6th Doctor. I think the 8th Doctor, I wish he would have gotten more. I like the 8th Doctor. My favorite Doctor, I mean, there's Tom Baker and everybody else. So the ones I like after that are, I mean, God. Tennant, of course. I thought Eccleston was great. Matt Smith, totally underrated. I think he's great. Love the 5th Doctor. 5th Doctor. But the classic Doctors, I would say it would go 4th Doctor, 3rd Doctor, 5th Doctor, 1st Doctor, 2nd Doctor, 7th, 6th, and 8th. I mean, like, I think Paul McGann could have been in the top 3 as a doctor. Because I think he really just embodies the doctor. But he just didn't get a fair shake. And Night of the Doctor, that little short, he was fucking brilliant. Fucking brilliant. And his audio adventures are great before they got all woke. Mahler, watching Buffy again for the first time in 15 years. The contrast between the quality of the show compared to today is insane. Favorite season? The Rotten for $5. I do believe Mahler's favorite season is 4. I do believe it's 4. I could be wrong. My favorite season is 3. John Q. Ghost for $20. Thank you. Night King. $4.99. The Battle of Dorne was based off Napoleon's conquest of Russia. The Dornish abandoned all of their cities and kept retreating, then picking them off slowly. Exactly. And it was also House, the one eating its own tail with the dragon. House Went hid in their chalk mines. It's Went, right? Night King, you wouldn't. Yeah, it's Went. Vasey Jr. for £5 British. They have fully changed Rhaenyra. She's never been merciful. This is all wrong. Sorry, but I am not conforming to the toxic positivity. Makes no sense. Well, here's where they get away with it, Vassy. That book you were reading is from 4 unreliable narrators. And this is supposed to be the definitive version, which I would rather see. Like, Tolkien's history was definitive. There's no unreliable. Like, this is it. This is what happened. George likes to play with things, and I think it was just a vanity, self-indulgent fuckfest that's delayed the Winds of Winter. And I think the show actually improves on the book. But if people ask me what I want, Winds of Winter. Dr. Ron Paul for $10. Wow, Ron Paul is here. Sorry, wrong show stream, but I just got done watching Amazon's Lord of the Rings, and it's the worst. It's worse than I imagined. So bad, I could only finish 30 minutes. It's not just bad Tolkien adaptation. It's a bad TV show story. Agreed. You take away all the lore, it sucks. No, so Gump 777 for $2. Hey guys, love you all. Keep up the good content. Thank you so much. I will pass that on to Shad and Mahler. Mizkim 1223 for $5. Was Sea Smoke the only dragon at that battle? I thought there were 2. Yeah, Damon didn't bring out his dragon for budgetary reasons. They also wanted to lure them out. They only needed 1 dragon. Dragon Ball Z for that's a good name, for $10. We are 3 episodes in, and I have yet to hear a discussion about the show without it devoting into something along the lines of, I can't believe they made Bran king or Arya. Really? Why her? Brian Barlow for $10. Am I the only one who thought that Rhaenyra was going to queen tonight her babysitter before or after the boar attack? She does eventually. And she did. John Q goes for $20. Thank you. Thank you for the donation again. I just hope they don't ruin my man Cregan Stark, a.k.a. Frank Castle of Westeros. That's right. What an absolute awesome character. Yes, Cregan Stark, the Mad Chad. Just wants justice. Doesn't give a fuck about anything else. I think they'll bring him in. I think they did cast him at some point. But he doesn't come until later. I do believe it's not Laenor. One of Rhaenyra's kids goes up to Winterfell. And I'll just leave it there. One of the kids goes up to Winterfell. BV Daunton for 2 Canadian pesos. Guys, please, it's Patty Constantine and Reese Ifans. I'm mispronouncing Reese Ifans on purpose at this point. And I just, one of my favorite DC characters is Constantine. And I'm not from fucking Wales where you guys don't know how to fucking talk. I think you're all drunk. I think that's why his name is supposed to be Ryan, like, Iphon or something, but you're all like, it's Reese Ifans. Drink less as a culture. Just kidding. I love the Welsh. Abstract Jewel for $9.99. It's nice to see. I understood that name, and there's like no vowels at the end. And I understand that name more than I understand a Welsh name. It's nice to see I don't know if Patty Constantine is not Welsh. I know that. It's nice to see dialogue and acting support the story and move it forward instead of what we saw in Rings of Power, where it confused us and contradicted what we were seeing. Best episode yet. The third one was the best. Absolutely. I started watching Rings of Power today. Sorry. Couldn't even complete 30 minutes. How many? That's 4 people in this Square Up that have said they could not complete. I can't even say the normal English words now. 30 minutes. Respect to you guys for watching it. Gary, keep up the good work. Thank you. RO229-inch. Ladies. For $5. Dominic Han Chan for 15 Hong Kong dollars. Hong Kong pesos. Right on. How are you watching us? Thought we weren't allowed there anymore. David G for 10 Australian dollars, VPN. Thanks for the stream, everyone. Helps me get through the workday. Can you ask Shad if he has read the R.A. Salvatore Drizzt novels and his thoughts? I'll ask him. Didn't he do the adaptations for the prequels? I know he did a Star Wars book because he came by my comic store and we chatted, and he was a very, very nice guy. Very nice guy. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. The novelization of Revenge of the Sith is the shit. It's what the movie should have been. It's the absolute shit. You get into Anakin's head. You see the betrayal. You see him being split apart between what he sees as his dad, Palpatine, father figure, and his loyalty to the Jedi, and his brother, essentially, Ben. It's fucking good. Night King 01 for $4.99. I have to correct you, Gary. Alan Taylor directed Baelor, Fire and Blood, Velo Morghulis, also Sopranos, Rome. Basically got go-to guy for great TV shows. So he didn't do who directed Battle of the Blackwater? I mean, Baylor's good. But who directed Blackwater and Watchers on the Wall? I'll have to look into it. Those are 2. Hey, Alan Taylor is an old school Game of Thrones guy. So, and doing Rome, like, I don't know anything about The Sopranos. I didn't watch The Sopranos, but Rome is the shit. So I think he's a step up from Miguel Sapochnik, who came in later, and I think like is a good visual director. I just don't know if he's a good visual storyteller. Tends to be a little over the top, and I think they just need to bring it down. I really loved in last episode that we were in Storm's End. You know, I need more shit like that. Night King, if you watch this, you'll know that in the later seasons of Game of Thrones, it got smaller. It felt like we were seeing fewer houses, and it felt like just a smaller world that you can get around much faster in. So, but dude, don't ever, ever, ever worry about correcting me. Please do it all the time. I have no problem with it at all. I make tons of mistakes. So that's it for the Super Chat Square Up. We have squared up Rings of Power, a Nooner, and a House of the Dragon episode. We'll get to more in the future. Thank you very much for leaving Super Chats and donations. You help keep the lights on. I have a sponsor. I may get another, but I'm never going to be interrupting videos with sponsor ads. I'll put stuff in live streams, but it's never going to get ridiculous. It's just, it's if I get sponsored by something, it's going to be by something I actually use. And so far, Geek Grind Coffee. I drink Geek Grind Coffee. I got some right here. Nerdrotic blend.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
다음에